Pros and cons. So apparently I haven't done this for about this many months. And so I'll just go off and start off from where I last stopped, and that is privatization. Now, there actually is a lot of things about privatization. It's the process of where the government goes ahead and sells off its assets on certain companies, such as nationalized mining, and even to some utilities provisions, such as electricity, water, which is pretty important in our lives, as well as, for some people actually, gas. And all of these are important and all, and so they are also kind of provided by some private companies. The government is supposed to be the one that goes ahead and provides us with these services. And they do, well, certain of them, but certain parts of our daily lives, well, they're all privated. They're all like, all right, a private company will give you guys all this. So, should this be the case, or should the government just do all this? A little side note here, most people are actually more worried about privatization of, say, healthcare and other utilities, rather than something all like government-owned car manufacturing business. And so we will go ahead and start off with the pro side, which is all about privatization. Sorry about it being on the right, but this is the only photo that was actually good I could find. Regardless, let's start off with the pros. The pros say privatization is literally the most efficient way that we can go ahead and provide all these public services. These state-run bureaucracies, like the ones that are public, they go ahead and they're all like, hey, you know what? We might just have to charge things as well, too. State-run bureaucracies, they'll always be inefficient because they know that there is a government bailout waiting for them when they, overspend a lot, or they just fail to cut costs or sack staff. So they think, alright, the government's just gonna go ahead and deal with this. But however, private companies, they have to be like, alright, the government's not caring about this, so we're going to have to go ahead and do all this ourselves. Sack this staff, and cut those costs, yada, 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 so we can maintain maximum stuff. Sure, government, yeah, so that's why private companies should exist, privatization should happen. And then we go ahead and come out with the cons, which are the ones who want the privatization to not happen. They're all like, there's more to providing a good service than there is ruthless efficiency. Sometimes maybe efficiency isn't the best way to give out the best outcome, the best product, shall we say. Here, a free market economy, which goes ahead and drives to make products, will probably go ahead and overcharge on the price of all these utilities. And lots of people will probably suffer from privatization, as now the private companies get to decide on who gets what, instead of the government giving it an equal amount to everyone, or at least the amount that everyone is paying and the amount that everyone at least needs. If you go ahead and treating elderly patients, well, the government's probably going to have a better job at treating old people. However, the privatization companies, they're probably all going to not be as good because, well, they really, really, really want to be efficient. So they might have cut costs enough to not even have the best medical care possible. So elderly people will probably not have the best life ever that they can have. Also, sometimes they will ask and charge for money, which most elderly people don't have. I mean, sure, they have retirement things, but that's for their retirement. Now we go back to the pros. So the pros go ahead and then go back and say this. So private businesses in this free market, they are way good. They're in competition, and they go ahead and they seek out the best way to attract customers by going ahead and reducing the prices of whatever they're paying as well too, and also improving the services, because good quality and good prices, good affordable prices, that's the only way you can go ahead and attract customers. That's the only way to also make a profit as well as attract customers. Also, if you are losing money attracting customers, well, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Businesses are motivated by profit, and so they will work to ensure that they do not lose this money at all. They will ensure that people keep seeing them at this golden standard, and so that they keep getting this money. Now, it's time for the cons to have their round at this debate. So, now they say it's actually kind of misleading to identify privatization with deregulation. You go ahead and you make privatization happen, well, they're gonna go ahead and regulate a bit more. Monopolies, they're all like, oh, we're dominant, so we're not gonna regulate. We're gonna regulate so much because we are in control. Like, just like what the US was when they were the only country in the world to have atomic bombs. State-owned and state-run elements, they can still have an open market too. A state-run service which opens within an open market can still draw out its customers, and it can still kind of earn a profit, which makes sure that they rely less on taxes as well too. And this also kind of gives ordinary people a little chance to invest. It can also be a highly competitive, highly effective in promoting competition without also sacrificing the fact that you have to go ahead and give it to the public's opinions. You're not sacrificing public opinion just to earn a profit. You're also letting them go ahead and take their input on this, also mainly on the form of taxes, as well as on the form of like stocks, say. And now, well, yeah, now that the cons have their go, we have to go ahead and go back to the pros. Now, the pros say that privatization, it goes ahead and gives the ordinary person the chance to go ahead and invest into something. You can go ahead and do something pretty worthwhile. You can contribute towards all of the privatization stuff by going ahead and inputting your stock money, which can rise up, and you yourself can also earn a profit on this as well too. This goes ahead and makes privatization a pretty great ideal, especially if you are one of those people who love businesses and you contributing to something, especially if that makes you feel good. Well, then this is the good thing for you. Well, regardless, there is a lot that we can still talk about. I mean, sure, all these stocks may look kind of fancy, but then again, this is always the best way we have done. This is also the only way that we have lived towards our goals of life. Privatization is just one of those ways that we can make them more efficient, as well as letting the people have their say, because, well, they're also paying the money for this stuff. They also get a say in this. Why not? Back to the main topic, however, there is still nothing more than stocks, than like supporting your favorite company. It doesn't get better than that. And then the cons go ahead and say this. Right, you say stocks? Well, it's a fantasy to suppose that can be a reality, because consumers never really have their own say in this too. It's a fantasy to suppose that like stockholders, private individuals who are shareholders, or even stockholders, like stakeholders, exercise any power over these private companies, because, well, sure, they might have power over the prices and decisions, but other than that, they have no regulations on what the products will be, what things they will get, and what parts they will have. So unfortunately, I'm sorry for you, but private companies are not that really good, and not that good, as well as upholding their promise of listening to you. No. And then we have our final argument. So in this final argument, we have another pros. So let's go back to our little pros of the private company real quick. They have several of these things, this last little stance. So privatization, it goes ahead and reduces the pressure on the government's finances, which will mean that the government can spend less. Hooray, we need to spend less anyway over the government. And then cons have this same refutation, saying, alright, sure, but then again, nationalized industries, yeah, they do rely on the government a bit. But then again, that's the good thing. The government gets to regulate their spending, and so they do not go overspend. And if they do overspend, well then, bye-bye for them. I guess they won't get any government funding anymore. That's when privatization should happen. And those services? No. The government should have their own services. And the government's companies can still also have a healthy competition with other private companies as well, too. Airplane companies are really great at talking with privatization companies, and they are having healthy debates and healthy competition on who gets what. Also, stocks can also fall, so if a company goes bust, well, the consumers go bust as well too. So who wins this debate? That's actually for you guys to decide. Like equals this side, dislike equals this side. So yeah, like if you are for the private company, and share if you are for the public company. In my opinion, though, I think more or less some of those services should be private companies, yes, but healthcare, all those things, I think those should be public companies. It's always the greatest stance to be in the middle. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little mini debate once in a while, and I will see you guys soon. Until next time, peace. Bye bye.